Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video it is going to be another movie review. And I am going to be reviewing The Matrix Resurrections. So The Matrix Resurrections is the fourth film in the Matrix franchise, and the first entry into this series since way back in 2003. We all thought the story was long done and over with, but apparently not. So does this long-lost sequel earn its way into existence, or is it just another irrelevant, greedy cash grab? Well, let's find out. And just a heads up to you all, this review will be 100% spoiler-free. Before we hop into the actual review itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my movie reviews. So be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And so, without further ado, let's hop right into things. So the first thing up on the positives list is Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, obviously. Having them back together is a breath of fresh air that we all really needed right now. And they are absolutely wonderful, as expected. The next positive is that franchise newcomers like Jessica Henwick, Neil Patrick Harris, Jonathan Groff, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen are all exceptional and welcomed additions. The action is great, not as great as the original trilogy, as I found this action to be a bit more shaky and a bit more quick-cutty, but still pretty solid kung fu and gun fu action. The visuals are spectacular, and thankfully they don't overuse the CGI like I was fully expecting. A lot of this movie is still practical, and I was very happy to see that. But just like its predecessors, its visuals are very easy on the eyes. And the last up on the positives is that I actually really dug the meta approach that the first half of this movie took. It didn't take me very much to decipher what was going on, but I did find it to be pretty clever. A little too on the nose for some people, yeah, I'm sure it is. But for me, I personally enjoyed it. And now for the negatives, and the first negative I wanted to discuss is that this movie over-explains some things, and leaves other things completely unexplained. Not in a good way either, like the audience is supposed to figure it out for themselves. No, it's more so like characters just say a bunch of shit and expect the audience to know what they're talking about. The movie is also a touch too long in my opinion. There's about 20 or 30 minutes in between the middle and final act that I found to be quite the bore. Further to my two previous points, the movie is pretty exposition heavy, and thus it puts the movie in a weird spot. It's a bit too long for its own good, but also giving some elements within the story not enough time to breathe and grow on their own organically. And sadly, the final negative is really this movie's biggest blow. The movie just doesn't really ever justify its need for existing. I mean, most people that you ask will say The Matrix never needed a sequel at all to begin with, let alone, well, now 3 sequels. And it's not a big secret that the sequels are quite inferior to the original. And with this movie, it's just like, okay, it happened, it was cool, it was nostalgia filled, and then the movie ends and you're just kind of left like, awesome. Now what? Like, what's the point of it all? What's it leading towards, or why did it ever need to happen to begin with? All in all, I did enjoy my time with this movie. I thought the vast majority of the characters were excellent, of course with Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss being the standouts, more so because I'm just so happy to see them back together, but they are exactly as you remember them. I thought the action was great, I thought the visuals were eye-pleasing, and they didn't overuse the CGI either. There's still a lot of practical in here, and it's very good practical. And I really honestly dug the meta approach that the first portion of this movie took. However, it is bogged down by a bit of an overlong runtime, over-explaining some things and not explaining others enough, and when it does explain things, it's usually in these large exposition dumps, and at the end of it, I'm really left wondering, why does this movie exist at all? However, like I said, I did have a lot of fun with it, and for the most part, it was a pretty positive experience. So I'm going to be giving The Matrix Resurrections a 7.5 out of 10. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my review. And while you're at it, feel free to let me know what you would score The Matrix Resurrections out of 10 and what your favorite moment of the movie was. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap.
Hey,
Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.